Is that? All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to Peter White Public Library. My name's Marty and I'm the Adult Programming Coordinator for the library. And I'm just going to make you aware of a few things that are upcoming this week and next week. Tomorrow night, today is Wednesday, tomorrow night, we have our monthly meeting of the Marquette Poet Circle that begins at 6:30 p.m. upstairs in the Shiras, which begins at 12 o'clock right here in the community room. And in honor of Black History Month, we're going to be showing a film called Freedom Summer, Mississippi, 1964. I think that title is pretty self-explanatory. And then next week we have a really special event happening as part of the, in partnership with the Diversity Common Reader program at NMU. They're focusing on Stephanie Foo's book. Oh gosh, why can't I think of the title of it? I can't think of the title of it. Anyway, sorry. But we have Jonathan Johnson, who's going to be coming here on Wednesday and Thursday. He's going to be leading a poetry workshop upstairs in the Shiras room from 2 to 4 p.m. And it's about healing. It's called Healing Lines Trauma Recovery Workshop. So there's no registration or anything. Anybody can show up for that, whether you have written poetry before or whatever kind of writing you do. You can come for that. And Jonathan Johnson is a really, really wonderful workshop leader, so I really encourage you to come. And then next week, Friday, right here in the community room, we're going to be doing our global cinema, and that is going to be Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So lots of great stuff coming up in the next few weeks. And also coming in April, I'll just start giving a plug for this. We have our Great Lakes Poetry Festival, and the headline poet this year is going to be Diane Glancy. She's going to be here in person on April 22nd, I believe, which is the Monday. So really, really wonderful, exciting things coming up. So let me say a little bit about Russ here. If I can get my notes out. I've known Russ for many, many, many years, probably more years than either of us care to admit. Russ grew up in Birmingham, Michigan. He moved here to Marquette in 1974, and he attended Northern Michigan University. And when he wasn't I love this. When he wasn't focused on schoolwork, he spent much time reading with really wonderful professors, John Van de Zande and Phil Legler. And then in 1982, he married his wonderful wife, Emily, right there in the back row. Yes. And he raised 3 sons right here in Marquette, Gabriel, Christopher, and Michael. He earned his Bachelor of Arts degree and Master of Fine Arts degree from Western Michigan University, and he's currently contingent assistant professor in English here at Northern still. And he's published many, many books. This is the latest that we're celebrating tonight, but he's published Approximate Desire, The Weight of Umber and Sienna, Father, Tell Me If I Have Not Aged, The Drunken Piano, The Whole Tree Is Told to the Backyard, and Misfit Hearts. And Russ was also the very first UP Poet Laureate, was elected that in 2013. So really excited to have Russ here celebrating his new book, Let It Be Told in a Single Breath. So please give a warm welcome to Russ Thorburn.
Sleeping Woman. Walt Whitman closes his eyes and remembers the dead from the Civil War. Too many bodies that he touched under the billowing canopy of the field hospital after their battle. When his forest gray hair falls across his wrinkled rim of a nose, his scar above the mouth wants to take wing from the names he can no longer pronounce. He stumbles with his head swimming. cot where he sees a sleeping woman. His reddened eyes from no sleep stare down at her shiny black hair as she shifts a full-blown breath in her unbuttoned nurse's top. He wonders at her breasts peeping from the loose clothes, her own way of thinking. Through her nipples, the old poet grasps his beard as if words were hiding there. The sleeping woman recognizes him, the poet, who writes of the human body in its many forms. Not that she doesn't like seeing a man or woman naked, but she brushes these thoughts away. Whitman rocks back on his heels, asking for heaven, but suddenly collapses to her cot, almost pushing her off. Lord help me, he intones to her bare chest, her eyelids fluttering like a dragonfly, uncertain where to land. Her knees meet her chin halfway, seeing the wound dresser stagger and gasp his breath as if it too was a battlefield. The last place on earth in Mexico City, the fix-it guy, wearing a faded eggshell-colored cap, cracks his melody maker from its case to play his high-pitched teardrop of a note. Everything I do is to improve the sound, Francisco mutters, with a cigarette chumped down on his lower lip, wheezing more of his accordion that he's repairing today between his sun-spotted hands of 60. His eyes are of the night without sleep, blowing leaves across an empty plaza, forlorn calls of his empty stomach as his fingers try to burst open a melody. His slender figure of a man who's still in his prime leans, his cheek a certain way that tells of a woman not yet forgotten. As his eyes roll back in this lost tango loved by Jewish Iraqis and Arab orchestras, his hips torn one way, while the rest of his body complains that it can't follow his feet on such an unimportant morning as this. The whiskey bottle, full enough on a table, beside broken accordions like his Excelsior, white as a snowy owl that roosts on the floor. But Francisco suddenly stops, as if seeing death in the corner of his Mexico City music repair shop, those buskers and maestros of an exhausted earth on their way to the graveyard despite little resurrections made by men like him. A radio with guts. Bukowski talked about it, the one he threw through the window each drunken night, and it still played. A radio indestructible with songs that couldn't help but beat against my forehead. I think of Johnny Rivers, honeyed in his tenor and hair, the way he sweetened even Secret Agent Man. Edgar Allan Poe sat with Bukowski throughout those drinking sessions. Whatever he poured down his gullet had to burn like being tied to a stake when the raven began talking Plutonian shores. As a young man, I remember summer nights of cheap vodka, descending with a friend to the cellar where we waited out the dawn to burst into song in my yard. With first rays, we moaned like Cat Stevens, My father is still alive and younger than I am now. We swirled our vodka with heavy cream as we headed off trying to learn how to become men. The radio, with its guts, removed on my father's bench. Wiring to be rewound, tubes to be replaced. Here was the Philco that reposed on its shelf, one that Bukowski might have thrown through his window. All in its magnificence of old parts, a radio that never worked my whole childhood, though father would disappear down the stairs to putter with its guts to make it sing. Yes, okay, there's... I like cold openings. I'll talk a little bit here. Blue Raincoat. Leonard Cohen never showed himself around the corner, but kept himself in cafes with songs on the tongue of his hoarse voice. Bleary windows holding the women who answered to Jane and were nobody's wives. I lost myself on St. Catherine's Street, bleeding words that kept me much older than I was at 24. My own Jane slept in a tourist room above a shoe store with her daughter after we had walked almost the entire length of old Montreal to dine at the Polish cafe where the waitress spilled water onto my lap. Wiping. She spoke with her dark bangs adrift across her forehead, in her tight flower-patterned dress, her knees bruised and nearly bloody from scrubbing floors. Tell her you love her before you eat a single bite. Her words crossing the round tablecloth of silver coffees and red borscht from another world to my lover's bemused expression. Then soon, a sad blessing, and she said I was younger than a father should be, but father to the daughter who sat there barely 3 and who would never recall this French scene. The girl loved me, though, her father not her father, and the waitress removed her washcloth from my lap, asking if it felt good. Outside in the rain, I wasn't wearing a blue raincoat, torn at the shoulder. And as much as I wanted him here, it got darker when I thought of him stealing my woman with his gypsy looks, and Al Cohen wasn't anywhere to be seen. So Dylan and I both love listening to the band and about their various exploits in the Woodstock area, and this is a true story to some degree that they kept crashing their new cars. So here's Richard Manuel crashes his Cadillac. His world speaks to him through the windshield, one crack dividing his before and after of alcohol consumption and love for a woman. The deer caught in his headlights turns to say, "You can kill me if you want, but I'm not going to move." Its head turned up for the crash, and Richard Manuel sees not a deer now, but a wife who got away through the woods. Troubled by his drinking and nights across the line, Jane, he cries out, as if he could warn her before his chrome, dented from accidents, collides with her thoughtful body. Her name can't save him from the crash on this mountainside, and he sees it almost in slow motion now. Into the deer, then veering off the road and a splintering thud. He listens to the radiator hissing, touching his mouth that hit the rear view mirror. He sees his fingers of the color of blackberries in the dim interior light. He closes his eyes for a minute to feel the earth spinning through the snowy whispers. Speaks the names Paula and Joshua, his children, as if to show that last revolution. Tearing off his coat, he slides from his seat to walk the cold mist, and as above a moon dries careful of the many stars. That was good. So here's one we did on the pier, poetry on the pier this summer for Art Week. Seagulls and sailboats kind of swirling around, sailing around us. And on some June late afternoon day, and it was a very pleasant afternoon. There was no electricity out there, so it was all acoustic. So the human soul is about the weight of a canoe. Splashing under an unforgiving moon. Never able to find the right course, more underwater than above. Bucking prow, seeking God. Behind the bright blue lash of another wave. Like a soul ruffled inside out by a great northern wind. The shivering Union soldier unballs his girl's letter from his pocket, his neck roped in these veins, tying him to a chill. This gale blown up from his dark soul, and his canoe with its rigid bottom perched precariously on top of the waves. Once ashore, he'll sleep under a tree and want to reach under his lapis lazuli for another letter of hers to read in the first snowstorm. And remember the wind-chilled spring of men dying at Gettysburg. But his soul stretches for miles over Superior's glowing milk-white surface. All of the shimmering novas contain her name. As the first flakes fly without a word of thanks to her brother soldier at war. Paddling, with a strange fear bristling at his neck, she thought he had died, and their baby would be raised by a farmer who called her wife. The chill bites colder as his canoe wobbles through chopping rollers. His black-haired girl. Freda hates him because she's sure he died. Though he survived that winter. To be more than a soul blowing across a collapsed porch. A fence torn out, tooth after tooth. A rooster vane whirling in the yard's rubble. Brand new book, $20 sitting at the table there. Let it be told in a single breath. But 7 years ago, Dylan and I did a launch right here. Chet was here, and he took a nice photograph. Yeah, he's here again 7 years later, and we sat in chairs, and it was kind of, just kind of a mellow thing. Tonight we're up on our feet because, trying to stretch out every note and word we can. In fact, I'm going to read from the Wayne State book right here. Maybe talk a little bit. So Jonathan Johnson wrote a blurb about my recurring characters, and Walt Whitman is one of these recurring characters. And here's a poem. Walt Whitman wears a huge hat in the noonday heat, and this is in the Mojave National Preserve. And so I'm just going to, the remaining minutes here, I'm just going to read these solo here, I think.
What's that?
Well, we're going to do one more, but I'll tell you when.
Okay. Just let me know.
Okay. Walt Whitman wears a huge hat in the noonday heat. His gray beard collects dust of the natural world, where he pushes his shopping cart through the desert. The wheels jam in the sand and rocks, all his clothes stuffed in black plastic bags, and he inhales great draughts of space. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness, but those words dribble from his beard, addressing nobody in particular. He shoves his cart caught in the sand and hears voices as if walking any aisle today in Walmart. Announce their specials. Those who were slaughtered, the former wound dresser can't deny. His beard never so tangled with the dreams of others that have never been realized. Now, as if 1,000 beautiful forms of men and women have astonished him, he bows his long-haired head, that floppy hat brim bent over his brow as he stands in this world. With his emptiness he can't account for, but must cross before evening. All seems beautiful to me, he says hoarsely, suffering from asthma, so he has to breathe fresh air. Ahead of him, and the boulders on top of each other, their surface so smooth and clean, he sees lovers alone, embracing in their stone. So that was inspired by a 2-week residency with my son, Mojave Desert, a number of years ago. Let's go back to the band. Something band like, and I'll follow you. And
Follow you.
and so, okay, this will probably be the final poem here. We're debating how fast I would read these poems. So I've been reading them kind of slow. So the 6 or 7 or 8 poems I had left here to do, well, that's another reading, I guess. Maybe with Beverly, I don't know, in the future. But I want to end on, this is an important poem, another Jonathan Johnson idea, but I want to mention a few of my Detroit, readers, like Peter Marcus, also Ken Meisel, M.L. Liebler, John Freeman, and they were like Detroit friends and poets, and I read with them through the Wayne State book, and so they kind of inspired me to get going on the second book here, 7 years later. And I also must mention Ross Tangedal, my presser publisher, who made all this happen. And so it was an amazing thing. I sent him the book, and a couple of days later he says, "Do you want a contract?" I mean, I've never had something so fast happen. So anyways, this is the old hotel. John Keats is here, a Jonathan influence. John Keats one evening beheld Lake Superior. When we turned over in our dreams, we found each other standing there together. Not in lone splendor, but her hand in mine. It was like John Keats had unraveled his breath, speaking of his first touch of a woman. Keats had checked in at the hotel and lived down the hall with Fanny, coughing but laughing in her arms. Or so I imagine blue-eyed Fanny with her bare shoulders, and her undying love at the old Marquette Inn, where one could see through a window the bright canopy of clouds over Lake Superior. Keats mumbled something about nature's gentle doings, but there was nothing gentle about the waves that destroy boats like the Edmund Fitzgerald. It was a dream after all. And I imagine John Keats telling his Fanny it was all right. But he had tuberculosis, and it would never be right between them in bed. Coughing blood into both cupped hands. His hair tousled like an old mossy hill. He begged her to lay down, all arms and legs as she undressed. But would he ever be man enough for her? Keats pensively looked out the window at the stars. He could dream of his life ending in bed with her, of the soul's pleasures, how a warm jet of blood escapes through the arteries, his own love for her tightly rooted in his chest, as if he could only breathe, touch any part of her now, and like all dreams, they end before they have begun. That was really nice. So this next half hour is Dylan and Patrick, and then I'll come back for the finale. And so, thank you.
I mean, you're welcome to play with me if you want. We didn't practice or anything. But who needs that? Russ Thorburn, everybody. Wow. I don't even really want to play. I just want to listen to Russ more.
I have 7 other poems planned, but we're out of time. I want to hear you play.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for having me, Russ. I'm Dylan, if you don't know me. I write songs here and there. This is one I wrote a while ago. It came to me in a dream, and in the dream, I was sitting under a tree in my backyard, which was the woods, and it was all sparkly, and the sun was shining through the leaves very finely, and it was kind of like a I was seeing things in people that people I didn't recognize here, but I knew from somewhere else. And anyway, the song I wrote, when I woke up from the dream, I immediately sat down with the guitar and I played this riff, and I wrote the whole song in 5 minutes. And it was a first draft, and I really haven't touched it much since then. Maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. Anyway, this song's called The Hemlock Tree. And this one's for Russ, because Russ always requests that I play this song. You only exist in dreams, and every memory is a star in your constellation. There is so much to see within the wind and the shade, under the hemlock tree where time fades like receding waves, and the world you know is still in a picture frame where people say hello instead of goodbye, and everyone's happy without even having to try, under the hemlock tree. I look for you now, and I find someone else. You're changing right before my eyes. Only in a dream underneath the hemlock tree can I recognize you through your disguise. Persist in waves, and when it's calm, well, that's where your idle ghosts play. So you run to the cave of a tree where you sit still till you calmly drift off in a dream. Then the world fades to black and white, and the pine needles are knives that cut up and disfigure the light, and you see a face you once donned, and there's violin music that's a lighthouse for you through the fog, under the hemlock tree. I look for you now, and I find someone else. You're changing right before my eyes. Only in a dream underneath the hemlock tree can I recognize you through your disguise. Only in a dream underneath the hemlock tree can I recognize you through your disguise. Thanks. Hey, nice, not bad. Yeah, that's Pat Booth, everybody. I don't know if he got an introduction in there. He's the man. It's funny, I get up here and I forget all the songs I know. All right. I wasn't going to play this song, but there was a request. And Russ likes this song, and there's a lot of space for you to do your Pat thing. This song is still untitled. It's still a work in progress, but the song is about learning someone else's language. And when they try to do that, I think it means that they really love you. To learn your language, so I'll give you all I can. But I only hear in color and often find the spectrum bland. So sing to me your landscape with the technicolor twang that cannot be diluted in the pitter-pat of rain. Nightfall, paint me a song. I'll burn a candle, though light is wasted on me. It's only so you can find me out on my colorless sea. So just keep singing me the rainbow and guide me by the hand till we finally drift ashore onto the same colorful land. Nightfall, paint me a song. Just keep singing me the rainbow and guide me by the hand till we finally drift ashore onto the same colorful land. Nightfall, paint me a song. Wow. Thanks, Pat. Thank you. I wanted to say a couple things about Russ. I think Russ is a brilliant poet, and it's always an honor to play with Russ. And I like seeing Russ out in public because he always has some cool story to tell about a band he saw back in the day. Actually, just when we got here today, we were talking about Wayne Kramer from the MC5 who just passed away. And Pat got to play with Wayne Kramer last year, which is cool. I'm the only one on the stage who didn't get to see Wayne Kramer in the flesh because Russell saw the MC5 at a pretty famous concert. He's always got a story like that, you know? What I'm trying to say, he's a cool guy. And I can't remember the first time we played together, maybe at the Joyce Center all those many years ago. I'm going to play a new song that I wrote. well, I've been writing for a while, but I just wanted to play something new and try it out on you guys. Is that okay? All right, cool. Still untitled, still a work in progress, but for now, I guess it's called Ashes. And I might mess it up. Must be broken, you must be crushed down into the ground. Your spirit won't let you remain ashes, even after you've burned in the fire. Smoke will pollute the air, and your smog will obscure the sun. The acid rain that will flood out of your brain will fall down on everyone. Sit in your dim, cold glow, where smoke and heat shed slow. And as you rise up out of your debris, you'll see a leaf never mattered much to the burning tree. And rock, your mind of sawdust and rain. And as your world goes up in flames, you get closer to the dream where the roots run deep for you. Sit in your dim, cold glow, where smoke and heat shed slow. And as you rise up out of your debris, you'll see a leaf never mattered much to the burning tree. You must be broken, you must be crushed down into the ground. Your spirit won't let you remain ashes, even after you've burned in the fire. Thanks. This next song I'm going to play is a song I wrote a while ago. This one's for Russ, too. All these are going to be for you tonight, Russ. This one's called Sunflowers. I haven't played it in a very, very long time, but it's kind of about when you're losing something and you know you're losing it and there's nothing you can do about it. It's kind of grim, but it's not that grim. It has a happy ending. Go out to play. It's a beautiful day. You step on the lawn you've known all along. You run in the grass and you knock over fast the world's last sunflower. All the kids in the streets, they heard about your feats, and they're running as fast as they can. They'll use them for gas. They'll use all the last of the world's sweet sunflowers, of the world's last sunflowers. If you don't be careful, if you won't be mindful, what if you can't watch sunflowers grow anymore? How long do you think the sun's gonna last? There's a wind in the air and flowers in your hair and trees and lakes and streams. The cars have all gone, and out on your lawn lay the world's first sunflower. I'm going to play another quick song or two, and then Russ is going to come back up here and close it out. This is another song I wrote. It's called Wicked Old World. These are all songs I wrote, I guess. Wicked old world, you start to unfurl, but I know you have the means to snap right out of your curls. You've done it before, you seem to exist. I've caught you sneaking sunlight through a foggy mist. You're the king of pranks, you're a blanket of light. You're the dance between an owl and the dead of the night. Wicked old light, you turn into night. Is that a smoke and mirrors monkey trick that you've gotten right? Some people curse you in bars, some people read you in stars. Is there a magic potion in a basement full of jars? You're the king of pranks, you're a blanket of light. You're the dance between an owl and the cold dark night. Thanks. I'm gonna play one more, and then Russ and Pat and I'll close it out. Lots of room on this one for you, Booth Train. No pressure. This is a number called Strange Light. Strange light on the edge of town. Something seems to be going around. Mad clown learning how to whistle in the rain, and the parking meter cop is staying home today. I'm keeping close watch on these friends of mine. They could turn on me with the flip of a dime. Every day moves a little farther from true, and the strange light seems to want you to. Strange lights burning holes in ice, and everyone seemed to think it's alright. I swore I saw a flower bleeding in the drain, cursing the strange light's name. The trees fell from growing leaves of cement. It was the weight of it all that made them relent, and the worms are sick with tomorrow's flu, and the strange light seems to want you to. I woke up with desire to find them, paid 50 cents to the deckhand at the dock. I asked him to take me and my crew to the edge. He said, friend, there is no end. He still took my offer for a song. I sang it and got the words all wrong. We sailed out that night, me and my crew, and the strange light seems to want you to. We saw tall ships as flaming ghosts rising up from invisible coasts. Dark writhing phantoms from nameless pasts who warned us that we cannot pass. My first mate on the deck singing bass. We're moving closer, yet the strange light still a trace. The name of this boat is Too Fast for You, and strange light seems to want you to. This journey may be never ending. One by one my crew is surrendering. 12 years or a month on the poem of the sea, and the strange light seems to want me. Strange light is not a star or a song. Strange light has been here all along. If I reach out to touch it, it's there then gone. And the strange light seems to want you to. Seems to want you to. Seems to want you to. All right, thanks. I'm Dylan Trost. That's Pat Booth. Thanks to the library for having us. Thanks for coming tonight. And here comes Russ, the man of the hour.
What cool electric moments. I mean, I'm glad Dylan was playing electric guitar today. It almost was acoustic, but we changed it to electric. I'm really glad that happened. What an awesome set. And Patrick Booth on saxophone. So this is the start of our Whirlwind 12-city tour. So keep in touch. We'll send you updated emails through the Midwest and elsewhere. Cleveland. Through the snow and driving rain. I want to say one more word here on Pete Margus, my extraordinary editor, for his subtle turnaround edits in these visionary filmic lyric poems that really aided and abetted their formation, and he was like very key on all of that. And Emma Liebler, again, for suggesting that I do send to Cornerstone Press, which I had never heard of before, and U of W Stevens Point. Okay, so this is a crash. Strange Light was a fantastic song, by the way. I really enjoyed Sunflowers. That was a surprise. Okay. This is more of the band and me as involved in this poem somehow. So we're just going to kind of take it as it goes, starting right now. His motorcycle crash started it all over again. That day, I'm singing to the wheels on fire, the one the boys buried in the basement tapes, with Robbie's Telecaster and Dylan singing about losing control. It resonates deeply since losing my job and starting over, at least something like that. The same you could say for Rick Danko and Richard Manuel. Tripped down from their wild tour days to over easy eggs and cigarettes in the kitchen. No auditorium of thousands, just starting over. With endless cups of coffee, waiting for Dylan to settle behind the microphone again, who wants to sing Tears of Rage. This melody written by Manuel, but doesn't, since he can never come close to Richard's high notes. The boys on the payroll now, since they were his tour band, and none of them had jobs. Dylan reaching for too much of nothing. A song that he just pulls out of his pocket on a badly typed, crumpled sheet. How Elliot Landy caught them beginning all over in the big pink basement. In his wide-eyed photographs, Bobby wearing a coonskin hat, Manuel consorting with a mandolin, stretched out on a bed. Outside, a lens idling over Levon, sitting on a Cadillac hood, its front chrome teeth knocked in from crashing a guardrail along the mountainside, or them on a bench, grouped like a disaster about to happen, staring at the woods as if a bear were emerging. One day Dylan crashed his motorcycle, that metal grinding on Streebill Road. His share-cropped hair buzzed short now, whiffs of a beard, and vinegar voice, which had never planned on singing. Trying to get something straight. Something straight, probably. Moving sideways down the road. Anyway. So that felt good, and it's glad to be back. Really great set. You guys are really heavy. We got to do it again. Yeah. Maybe not 10 city tour.
I have to run off.